Hey guys, welcome to my Skincare 101 series. This basic series is all about answering those really big questions you have about skincare. What's an oil-based cleanser? What actives should I look for in a serum? How should I be applying my products? What does sulfate-free even mean? I'm not going to give specific product recommendations yet. Those I'll do more regularly after this basic series. So what I wanted to do here is give you the foundation so that you can figure out for yourself what are the products that work for you. You know, when you're thinking about buying that new cleanser that you're seeing everywhere on your feed, because it's so easy to get caught up in the hype otherwise. Today, we're going to kick off the series by exploring the world of cleansers, and we're really going to nerd out on them. If you didn't already know, cleansers are really important because not only does it take off the makeup, the oil, the dirt, and the sweat off your face, it also helps to set up your skin for all of the next steps in your routine. We're going to chat about all the different types available, and I'm going to be answering the question that's on all of your minds right now. How do you find the best cleanser for you? I'm also going to be showing you how to apply cleansers, and as always, leave you with some top tips for things I do in my own routine to help me get the most out of my cleansers. There's so many different types of cleansers out there, but it's because we're all so unique. It's so important to understand your own skin and how it reacts so you can understand for yourself why something's working or why it's not working so that you don't fall for any of the marketing BS and hype. Cleansers basically come in two types, water-based and oil-based. It's actually pretty straightforward. Most cleansers out there are water-based. They can be anything from gels, exfoliating, foaming, milks, or even hydrating creams. Just try to stick with me through this segment because there's a lot of valuable information to know, but it's a lot. How they work is they basically rinse off dirt from the top layer of skin using something called a surfactant. Surfactants are basically detergents that help the oil in your skin mix with the water in the cleanser. Dirt and pollution get emulsified in the surfactant lather and then they get washed off, but so do your natural oils. There's a spectrum for water-based cleansers that goes anywhere from heavy duty to gentle, so you have to keep that in mind when you're choosing what's best for you. On the more intense end, look out for surfactants like sulfates, which are basically like the nukes of cleansing. They're super powerful and perfect for people with really oily skin, but they can also be too harsh and too irritating for some other people with really sensitive skin. Cleansers usually on this end of the spectrum tend to be foaming or gel. You've probably heard of lots of products by now marketing the fact that they're sulfate-free. What does that even mean and why is that a problem? It's mostly because of the irritation and even barrier disruption caused by a certain sulfate called sodium lauryl sulfate, or SLS. There are alternatives to SLS like sodium laureth sulfate or SELS. There are some more gentle sulfates like ammonium laureth sulfate and sodium alkyl sulfate. Sulfates aren't necessarily bad, they're just not for everyone. To all my folks out there with super oily skin, I know it can be really tempting to just nuke it out by finding the strongest cleanser that you can find. But just be careful because you could be causing your skin to retaliate by overcompensating with more oil and sebum production, making the problem even worse. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, you have more hydrating cleansers that are usually in a milky or creamy consistency that tend to be lower foam, that are formulated specifically for drier skin that's a little bit more gentle. They'll still wash your face, but they shouldn't be as stripping if you have dry or really sensitive skin. Also, just note that they might still have sulfates, but they're probably lower down on the ingredient list, which makes them formulated for more sensitive skin. Micellar water is another gentle water-based cleanser. It's a non-lathering emulsion made up of tiny balls of cleansing oil called micelles suspended in soft water. So what micelles do is they latch onto the dirt, the makeup, and the oil on your face, and like magnets, they just get wiped away when you swipe it off with a cotton pad. Okay, let's now do a breakdown of all of the different types of water-based cleansers that we just went through. So on the intense side, we've got foaming and gel cleansers. Pros: deep clean, removes makeup, sweat, and oil really well. Cons: can be harsh on sensitive skin and leave your skin feeling really tight. On the more gentle side, we've got creams and milks. Pros: very gentle, non-abrasive, and should not cause any redness. Cons: if your skin is super oily, a cream cleanser just might not do it. Also, it might take a little bit longer to wash off the residue. Okay, now onto micellar water. Pros, very gentle. Great to use as part of a double cleansing routine. Don't worry if you don't know what double cleansing is, we'll cover it in part 2. Spoiler alert, it's exactly what it sounds like. Cons, may not leave the skin feeling completely cleansed. If you're wearing full makeup, you may need a lot more micellar water to remove it all. Okay, now let's talk about oil cleansers. Oil-based cleansers really shine when you're using them to take off makeup, sunscreen, and surprisingly, even excess oil. They usually come in an oil or a balm format. Okay, let's just stop for a second. So I know it seems weird to use an oil to degrease your skin, but it totally works because actually oil attracts oil. And because makeup and sebum are both oil-based, oil cleansers work by breaking it down so you can wipe or wash it away pretty easily. Why would you go oil-based? Oil-based cleansers are gentler on the skin. They leave the natural oil layer on top of the skin, so if you have sensitive or rosacea-prone skin, there's gonna be minimal irritation. But unlike gentler water-based cleansers, they're really amazing at melting makeup off quickly, so if you use a lot of long-wear setting sprays or waterproof mascara, then they're gonna be really great at taking it off. The only downside is it could take a little bit more time to wash off all of the oily residue. Okay, so let's break down the pros and cons of oil-based cleansers. Oils and balms. Pros, melts makeup off like butter and feels really luxurious. Cons, can be time consuming to wash off and can leave a little bit of an oily residue if you don't get it all off. And also, it can get a little bit messy. Okay, so on to the fun stuff. Well, at least I think it's fun because I'm kind of a nerd. Ingredients, extracts, and actives. There are a ton of them, and I'll do another series devoted entirely to ingredient deep dives. But today I'll focus on the most common ones you find in cleansers, and I'll start with talking about it from a skin type perspective so you can follow along based on which ones are most relevant for you. If you're concerned about breakouts and acne, look for cleansers with BHAs or salicylic acid in the ingredients list, and if it's particularly aggressive, look out for benzoyl peroxide. Salicylic acid removes dead skin cells that can be clogging the pores, while benzoyl peroxide kills the bacteria inside. These are two of the reasons why you can get acne. If you're worried about oily skin and clogged pores, look out for a cleanser with clay for a deeper clean. Clay cleansers can help draw out impurities, bacteria, oil, and sebum out of your pores. Sebum especially is what helps to contribute towards those dreaded clogged pores. Have you ever tried to squeeze out your pores? You get this gross, waxy substance. That's sebum. Clay cleansers are like magnets for it. They give you a deeper clean and exfoliate. For sensitive skin, look out for extracts like white willow bark and chamomile, and also look out for ceramides, which help to soothe and restore the skin. But in general, you want to avoid too many ingredients or actives. Be careful of added fragrances as they can be really irritating for you. Beware if you see the words fragrance or parfum on the ingredients list, because companies can hide lots of ingredients in there that can actually be really irritating to your skin. For my friends with really dry skin, you want to avoid really harsh ingredients like sulfates that can be way too stripping for your skin. And for my friends who are concerned about skin texture, exfoliants like AHAs or fruit enzymes can help to gently exfoliate and slough off and retexture your skin. Now, another big question. How much should you spend? Just as there are a ton of cleansers out there, there's also a ton of different price tags. You can find cleansers at the drugstore for a few bucks, or go to the department store and drop hundreds of dollars on a cleanser. In general, prices are a function of the research that goes into the products or the number of actives in the formulation, but also packaging, marketing, brand power, and distribution channels can affect the price. You want to pay for the research, formulation, and actives and not for the marketing gimmicks unless you live for the packaging, which I totally get because I'm a sucker for packaging too. In my honest opinion, even though you can find some really expensive cleansers out there with really impressive sounding botanical extracts and organic this and all of that, I don't know if it's really worth it, because you're essentially going to put it on your face for a few seconds only for all of those expensive ingredients to be washed down the sink. If you're on a budget, I'd save that money to splurge on another part of your routine like serums that are actually meant to stay on your face. so on to the big question. Which one should you buy? This is where you have to pay attention to your own skin because it really depends on your skin type. Is it oily, dry, combination, sensitive, or none of these and you just happen to have absolutely perfect skin? By the way, I'll be posting an in-depth video about skin types in case you're not sure what your skin type is. Your skin type can change over time or even throughout the month, like that time of the month. So it's important to get it right for how your skin is right now. Here are some of my recommendations for you guys depending on your skin type. If you have acne-prone skin, try a gentler water-based cleanser first before moving to the more heavy-duty cleansers that feature salicylic acid and benzoyl peroxide. If you have oily skin with clogged pores, try a clay-based cleanser. If you have dry skin, pick a gentle cream or milk-based cleanser or try an oil-based cleanser. If you have really sensitive skin, pick a cleanser that's sulfate-free, fragrance-free, and doesn't have a really long ingredients list. If you're like me and your skin doesn't fit into one of these perfect buckets, so one day your skin is really dry and kind of itchy, and another day you kind of wake up to find a pimple or two, well, you might need more than one. You could switch up your morning and your night cleansers, a gentler water-based one in the morning, and maybe even a double cleanse at night, which I'll talk about now in part 2. So we're gonna start by splashing some lukewarm water onto the face just to moisten the skin a bit. You wanna use lukewarm and not hot water because it can cause irritation and damage to your skin. You definitely don't want your face to be red and stinging before you've even started. Now, if you're using an oil, shake the bottle, grab 1 or 2 pumps, and rub your hands together to emulsify the liquid. If you're using a water-based cleanser, pump 1 or 2 times or squeeze out about a coin-sized amount from the tube and rub your hands together a bit to even it out. Okay, so you're gonna massage it into your skin and work it all over your face. I like to start with my nose and cheekbones. I really just kind of like rub down and around my nostrils. Then I'll go over and draw circles around my eyes and work up and outward onto my forehead, and then go down the sides of my face and just do small circles around my jawline to my chin. When I'm massaging it into my skin, I'm actually thinking about massaging the muscles under my skin instead of my actual skin. Now that it's all massaged in, I'm gonna rinse my hands in lukewarm water and go over my face again multiple times. If you're wearing heavy makeup or you're in a rush, grab a muslin or a cotton cloth, wet it, and swipe it gently across your face, removing the last of the residue. After you've got all the residue washed off, pat your face dry with a soft towel and voila, we're done. After you're done washing, you want it to feel really good and fresh, but not tight. Your skin shouldn't be stinging or like super red. If it is, you might be using the wrong cleanser or you could be rubbing your face a little bit too hard. So what about double cleansing? I mentioned double cleansing a couple times in part 1. It's exactly what it sounds like. You cleanse twice. You cleanse first with an oil or a balm, and then you cleanse again with a water-based one to get all of the residue that might still be left over and to make sure you get a deeper clean. You should really think about double cleansing at night if your makeup game is on point, if you wear long wear setting sprays, waterproof mascaras, or if you live in a big city with lots of pollution. Just be careful not to go too overboard with cleansing. Don't try triple or quadruple cleansing because that can be way too irritating for your skin. Okay, time for Cathy's I'm so lazy tip of the day. Ding! Like, is that okay? Honestly, sometimes I can be really lazy, and if you're like me and you're too tired at night or you don't really have enough time, you're kind of in a rush or you're feeling lazy, but you still want to try double cleansing, I kind of do this like cheat 1.5 cleanse instead of a double cleanse. So I would use my oil or balm as my first step, and then I would switch to a micellar water in my second step because it literally only takes a few seconds. All you have to do is squeeze some onto a cotton pad and swipe it across your face, and that's it. So how long should you wash your face for? There is no hard and fast rule on this, but most people only spend 15 or 20 seconds on this. For me, I don't think that's enough time. My general rule is the longer you spend getting ready for your day, the longer you should spend getting unready too. And that's about 60 seconds. You also don't want to feel the wrath of skincare Twitter telling you that you're not washing your face for long enough. But like I said before, you want to try and find a happy medium. You don't want to go too overboard and overwash your face. So, do you really need to cleanse in the morning? I mean, ideally, you should be cleansing in the morning and at night. Anytime you get sweaty, really. So, if you go to the gym, if you go for a hike, if you have a one-night stand. When you sleep, sweat and oil can transfer from your hair or your pillow onto your face. It gets really gross, so you want to make sure that you wash that off in the morning so that you can start off your day fresh and clean. Only if you're really dry, you never sweat, and you wash your pillows regularly, I think then maybe you can get away with not washing your face in the morning and just splashing a little bit of water, but only then. So I know some of you do this every day in the morning to save time, and it's a good idea, but you just want to make sure the water isn't too hot because that can really irritate your skin. Wash your face after going to the gym. If you're using wipes, make sure to avoid denatured alcohol and fragrances as well. I'd suggest trying a micellar water and a reusable cotton or bamboo pad instead. This is just as easy, it's cheaper, and it's more eco-friendly. Even if you have dry skin and you barely sweat, don't skip out on cleansing your skin at night. Think about it. You've put on skincare products, maybe even makeup products, so you want to make sure that you're washing it off before continuing with your routine and heading off to bed. Maybe even try double cleansing for your nighttime routine. Let's take a quick sec to go over some top tips. These are things that I do all the time that have been really helpful in my routine, and I hope that they can be helpful for you too. Wash your pillows regularly because sweat and oil can transfer from the pillow onto your face at night. Pretty gross, right? So I've talked about this a little bit already, but I use a reusable pad instead of a disposable one. I really like this one from Amazon, which is made of bamboo, which I'll link below. It's a lot more eco-friendly, and I just don't feel as bad for, having to throw away cotton pads all the time. Sometimes I like to do my 1.5 version of the double cleanse in the morning too. I'll use my regular cleanser, then I'll put some micellar water onto a reusable pad that I swipe over my face, focusing on areas like my hairline and around my nose because that's kind of where I tend to get oily. Thanks so much, you guys, for sticking with me to the end. I tried to cram as much as I could in this video without boring you guys to death, but there's loads that I didn't get really deep into, like makeup removers and wipes, low pH cleansers, cleansing powders, and cleansing tools. Let me know if you want me to cover that or anything else in another video in the comments down below. If you want to binge, click through to the next video in my basics series where I'll be covering toners, astringents, and essences. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time!